Hello, I'm W.L. McCoy, and I was born here in Hodgenville, Kentucky. Grew up over in Hardin in the Vine Grove area. I was one of the founding members of the Lincoln Museum here. Worked on quite a few projects. The Lincoln painting that you see behind me here, I guess given to us on loan by I believe it was the Kentucky Historical Society. It was stored in the basement of a building in Frankfort, Kentucky. And a friend of mine, John Jones, and I went up there and picked it up and brought it back to Hodgenville in the back of my pickup truck. It was tied to the truck pretty well, I promise you. It made it here. So you see that today, and that was a lot of fun going up to Frankfort to pick that up. There's several different exhibits here that I was involved in. Probably the most prominent one is the rail splitter exhibit behind us. Black and white image of the creek there behind Abe was actually photographed with 4 separate 4x5 view camera negatives, and it was printed on 4x8 sheets of photographic wallpaper, and we just put it up on the exhibit using wallpaper paste, matched all the tree limbs so they all came together and looks like one image. But it's actually 4 separate 4x5 negative images that were stitched together. That's how we did it back in the old days. Another one of the exhibits that I have some things in is the Matthew Brady exhibit. I had a photography studio here in the area, and I had some older photographic equipment. So some of the things in the Matthew Brady exhibit, the camera, and there's a sample of old images that kind of rolled up that photographers back in the 1800s would have carried around when they did photographs on location. Those are there. Some of the large cannonball in the Gettysburg exhibit I donated. It came from below the bridge at Munfordville. There was a Civil War fort there guarding the railroad trestle, and evidently sometime during the war they had a rail-mounted mortar gun that came through there, and some soldier or other dropped that big mortar round off the side of the bridge and was recovered several years ago using metal detectors. I have some smaller 12-pound shot that's also here in the museum, and also a Lincoln and Hamlin campaign ribbon that is on loan that belonged to some of my family. A lot of the postcards that have been for sale here at the museum, I photographed those way back in the day. Did a lot of work for the National Park Service, which is a separate entity, but we've done some limited edition prints and things for the park. I'm a retired photographer now, so I just do what I enjoy doing. I guess my memories of the museum were probably more in the construction phase. The community that was involved with the museum, we were in here working and getting exhibits ready and doing different things, and I guess that's probably some of the earliest memories. You know, we had meetings discussing the whole thing, trying to get it started, but I really kind of remember working on the exhibits and getting those set up and built and arranged. The museum has evolved. I think it's gotten better over the years. It's got a lot more material now than when we first started out. That's probably my earliest. With the museum being here as long as we've had it here, I'm kind of a history buff, and it kind of warms my heart to know that we've still got an educational resource here in the community that our community can take pride in having. You know, it's all local people. We're not part of the National Park Service. The museum is still maintained by all local people, and it's really a kind of a source of community pride, I think. What I'd really like for people to know is that Abraham Lincoln was born in LaRue County. He was not born in Illinois, as so many people think. But no, he was a local boy, even though they moved out of here early on when he was a young man. But this is where he was born, and this is where we claim him. What does Abraham Lincoln mean to me? Several things. He was the president of our country during a very, very, very difficult time. And too many people don't realize just how close our country came to being torn apart. And yeah, we're going through some difficult times these days, but not anything near what the Civil War was. So He provided leadership, was one of the main things, and he never lost that good old boy humor, which I think came from here in Kentucky. And he still, I think he still sounded like a Kentuckian. You get that old Kentucky accent when you're young, getting started out, and he was old enough when he left here. I think that good old Kentucky voice was still shining through in Washington, D.C. The Lincoln Museum is a resource for people to learn about Abraham Lincoln, to learn about our community, how Kentucky participated during the Civil War and the importance of Abraham Lincoln. And I just think it's very important for our community. I would like to add in closing that if whoever is seeing this video, if you've never come to the Lincoln Museum, put it on your bucket list. Come here, check us out. We're a small community in Kentucky, and I think you'll really enjoy seeing what we have here.